At the party, someone asked Tiffany, "Ethan's girl bro, you and Ethan are so tight, have you ever crossed the line?" She burst into laughter, shaking visibly, and right there in front of everyone, unbuttoned the first button of her shirt, revealing suggestive hickeys on her collarbone. "My buddy just gave me these hickeys yesterday, aren't they sweet?" A dead silence fell over the room. I was thunderstruck. In 3 years of marriage, Ethan had barely touched me. He always claimed he had a low libido and told me not to push him. She walked over, playfully adjusted his tie, her tone innocent. "Just kidding, those are mosquito bites. What are you imagining, Evelyn? My buddy, the aloof charmer type, isn't even interested in his own wife, so how could he possibly be interested in me, his good friend?" The moment Tiffany finished speaking, every eye in the room turned to me, and the air solidified into a massive block of ice. I could feel each gaze, some scrutinizing, some gloating, and others offering feigned sympathy. Ethan sat beside me, his face grim. He didn't look at me, offer an explanation, or deny anything. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I slowly stood up and adjusted my skirt hem. I walked towards Tiffany, a polite smile on my face. The party hall lights were bright, making my cheeks burn, but my steps were steady. "Tiffany, I've always wanted to ask you something." My tone was calm, as if I were just making small talk. She looked at me defiantly. "What is it, Evelyn?" I took out my phone, opened the photo gallery, and found the picture of the limited edition handbag she had flaunted on her social media post for a whole month. The luxury item she claimed was a gift from a mysterious wealthy admirer. "This bag, it's a knockoff, isn't it?" I turned the phone screen towards the crowd. Tiffany's face changed. "What are you talking about?" I zoomed in on the image details. "The stitching is crooked. Look at the hardware. The genuine item is 24K gold PL. Aided, but yours is already peeling." A few suppressed laughs broke out around us. Tiffany's face turned beet red, and her proudly displayed wealthy admirer's gift became a laughingstock in front of everyone. "I'm not trying to expose your flaws, just offering a friendly reminder," I said, my tone relaxed. "Next time you buy a knockoff, come to me. I know a source where this would cost at most $300. Ethan suddenly stood up and grabbed my arm. His fingers dug deep into my skin, hurting me so much I almost cried out. "Evelyn, that's enough," he roared. "Do you have to humiliate her?" I shook off his hand, watching him get angry over another woman. In 3 years of marriage, he had never once spoken up for me like that. "The feeling's mutual," I said coldly. On the way home, the atmosphere in the car was suffocating. Ethan criticized me the entire way. "You're too malicious." He gripped the steering wheel. "Tiffany was just joking, and you had to humiliate her in public. You're jealous of her youth and beauty, that's why you're always targeting her. Do you have any idea how awful you look today?" I stared out at the streetlights flashing past, saying nothing. Every accusation was like a knife, but I was already numb. When we got home, Ethan was still ranting. I put down my bag, took off my high heels, and felt a sense of calm I had never experienced before. "Ethan," I interrupted him, "let's get a divorce." He froze, then scoffed, "This again?" He turned and walked towards the study, leaving a remark, "Stop fooling around, I'm going to play games." The next day was the firm's and its subsidiaries' joint company family day, an event I had spent 2 full weeks planning. "I'm leaving now," Ethan said, dressed in casual wear and holding his backpack, standing at the door. "Not going to the company family day?" I stopped applying my makeup. "Relaxing at the hot springs with the guys, team building," he said without looking back. "You handle the crowd, yo. Yourself, those kinds of events are pretty boring anyway." The door closed. I smiled at my reflection in the mirror. 3 years. I should have gotten used to his indifference by now. At the company family day, colleagues chatted and laughed with their partners. I stood alone in a corner, watching the game activities I had meticulously designed. "Evelyn, isn't Ethan coming?" Chris from HR asked. "Something came up," I replied with a smile. "He's out with Tiffany and them again, isn't he?" Chris blurted out, then covered his mouth. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have spoken out of turn." My smile froze on my face. Back home, Ethan still wasn't back. I sat on the sofa, staring at the iPad on the coffee table. It was ours, synced with Ethan's WhatsApp. I had never gone through his phone. But today, I tapped on the iPad. Ethan's fans group chat popped up. The latest message was a photo sent by Tiffany. She was wearing a sexy swimsuit, posing suggestively. "The hot spring water feels so good," the group erupted with cheers. "Since isn't here, Ethan can really let loose." My fingers trembled as I scrolled down. Ethan replied, "Don't worry, I've dumped that frumpy wife." Frumpy wife. I stared at those words, feeling as if someone had brutally stomped on my chest. Scrolling further, I found Ethan and Tiffany's private messages. Tiffany, the energy breakfast I prepared for you, remember to make Evelyn drink it every day. Tell her it's for her own good, she'll definitely drink it. Ethan, don't worry, honey, she's been drinking it for 3 months, and even the doctors say her health has improved. My mind went blank. Energy breakfast? That was the health smoothie Ethan personally made for me every day. He said I was too tired from work and needed to supplement my nutrition. I was so touched, I dutifully drank it every day. 3 months. I rushed into the kitchen and opened the refrigerator. The juice he had made this morning was still there, the pink liquid swirling in the glass. I took out a Ziploc bag, carefully poured half the juice into it. After sealing it, I called my childhood best friend, Ryan. Help me find the most reputable institution. To test something. What happened? Ryan asked. I suspect my husband and his good friend are poisoning my drink. Using a surprise inspection of a subsidiary as a pretext, I brought several key senior executives from the firm and directly stormed the mountain lodge. This excuse sounded ridiculous even to myself. But at this moment, I needed a respectable enough reason to tear open that veil of hypocrisy in front of everyone. The car stopped outside the lodge, and I adjusted my suit. I specifically wore formal attire today, not for dignity, but to give what was to follow more of a sense of ritual. Evelyn, are you sure about this? The CFO hesitated. What, Mr. David also thinks I'm making a big deal out of nothing? I smiled, my voice so calm it even scared me. No, I'm just worried about you. I didn't answer and led the way into the lodge. Passing through a grove of trees, we stood on a platform overlooking the hot spring area. Through the misty vapor, Ethan and Tiffany's figures were clearly visible. They were playing and splashing in the hot spring pool, their laughter carried over unrestrainedly. My heart felt strange, both aching and numb. In 3 years of marriage, Ethan had never laughed so heartily. 3 Ethan, stop pretending. Prove you're not sex-averse, a male voice jeered. Others joined in the laughter. Ethan laughed loudly, pulled Tiffany against the edge of the pool, and deeply kissed her in front of everyone. His hand moved inappropriately underwater, and Tiffany let out an exaggerated groan. I emotionlessly took out my phone and recorded the entire scene. The faces of several senior executives from the firm beside me turned ashen. Mr. Robert, who was my father's old subordinate, looked at me with heartbreak and anger in his eyes. Evelyn, don't look anymore, Mr. Robert S.A. I.D. softly. I shook my head and continued recording. My hand was steady, and my heart was calm. This calmness felt foreign to me, like watching someone else's life fall apart. After finishing the recording, I called Ethan. The phone rang for a long time before he finally answered. What do you want? I'm busy. In the background, there was noisy laughter and music, and his voice was extremely impatient. I'm in VIP suite number 3, right behind you, with a few of the elders, to discuss your business. You have 3 minutes. My voice was icy, every word squeezed out between my teeth. The other end of the line suddenly went silent for a second, then his panicked voice came through. Where are you? I didn't answer, and hung up the phone. From our vantage point, we could clearly see Ethan scrambling out of the water in a state of disarray, his movements as clumsy as a child caught misbehaving. Tiffany, bewildered, clung to him. For the first time, Ethan impatiently pushed her away, with such force that Tiffany almost fell. It seems Ethan has quite a way with his subordinates, the HR director sneered. This kind of person should have been purged from the firm long ago, another senior executive said. Mr. Robert said gravely, Evelyn, this is no longer a private matter. This is a major hidden danger for the firm. Ethan rushed into the VIP suite, soaking wet, water droplets dripping from his body onto the carpet. Seeing a room full of the firm's senior executives, his face instantly turned pale, and his legs felt weak. Evelyn, I can explain. Before he could finish, my stomach suddenly cramped with pain, and my vision went black. I felt myself falling, my body uncontrollably tipping forward. Evelyn. Mr. Roberts' alarmed cry was the last sound I heard before losing consciousness. When I woke up, the glaring white light made me squint. The smell of disinfectant told me I was in a hospital. I tried to move my fingers and found my right hand immobilized by a transparent liquid flowing into my veins through an 4-tube. You're awake? Ryan sat by the bed, his eyes bloodshot. The test results are out, the doctor said, walking into the room with a stack of reports in hand. Ms. Lin, you're suffering from chronic drug poisoning, which has led to severe stomach erosion and liver damage. I wasn't surprised. I just asked, what was in that juice? The doctor looked at the report, an illicit drug. Long-term use causes chronic internal organ damage and could lead to infertility. Infertility. I closed my eyes. So didn't just not love me, he wanted me dead, and to prevent me from ever becoming a mother. Evelyn, are you all right? Mr. David stood on the other side of the bed, his eyes filled with worry. I shook my head, feeling cold all over, like I'd been thrown into an ice cellar. In 3 years of marriage, I thought the worst outcome would be his infidelity. I never imagined he'd try to destroy everything about me. Ethan appeared at the doorway of the hospital room at some point, an anxious expression on his face. He walked to the bedside and took my hand. Evelyn, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I pulled my hand away, unwilling to listen to his lies. Just then, Ethan's phone rang. He glanced at the screen, and a flicker of hesitation crossed his face. Who is it? I asked. Tiffany, he bit his lip. She said she slipped at the hot springs, sprained her ankle, and it hurts a lot. I stared at him, waiting for his choice. Ethan stood up. Evelyn, Tiffany is alone, and I'm worried. I'll just go check on her and come right back, okay? I didn't answer. He hesitated for a moment, then turned and left the hospital room. Watching his back disappear at the doorway, the last shred of affection in my heart completely severed. This man, while I was in the hospital, chose to go take care of his mistress. I knew he'd do that, Ryan sneered, taking a file from his briefcase. The official lab report. And I also got the evidence that Ethan used the firm's project funds to buy Tiffany a car. I took the documents and flipped through the numbers and evidence. Every page was a mockery of my 3-year marriage, and every number told me how foolish I had been. Do they really think I know nothing? I gave a self-deprecating laugh. The hospital room door opened again, and Mr. Robert and several other senior executives walked in. Evelyn, you don't need to worry about the firm's affairs. We're all on your side, Mr. Robert said. That beast, I've disliked him for a long time. I looked out the window. The sky was overcast, as if it were about to rain. Notify all board members, an emergency meeting will be held tomorrow. For I didn't check out of the hospital. Lying in bed, I attended the board meeting via video conference. On the other end of the screen, a dozen directors sat upright, their expressions serious. Ethan sat in a corner, nervously fiddling with the pen in his hand. Ladies and gentlemen, this emergency meeting is being held today due to the discovery of serious violations within the firm, I said, my voice calm, as if discussing the weather. Ryan stood up and took the microphone. As proxy attorney, I will present several pieces of evidence. He clicked the remote control, and the hot springs video played on the large screen. The intimate scenes of Ethan and Tiffany were clearly visible. Ethan suddenly stood up, then powerlessly collapsed back into his seat. This is a private matter. It has nothing to do with the firm, he shouted. Ryan sneered. What about this? The screen switched to my hospital diagnosis report and the juice lab test results. Evelyn has been subjected to long-term administration of an illicit drug, leading to severe stomach erosion and liver damage. Even more seriously, this drug can cause infertility. The conference room erupted in an uproar. I saw several female directors cover their mouths, their eyes filled with shock. Finally, please look at this. Ryan played the transaction records of Ethan's embezzlement of public funds. Ethan used the firm's project funds to purchase luxury cars and luxury items for Tiffany, totaling over $3 million. Ethan's face was ashen, his lips trembling. I can explain. Explain what? Mr. Roberts slammed his hand on the table and stood up. Explain how you betrayed the firm? Or how you poisoned your own wife? I stared at Ethan on the screen. 3 years ago, I loved him so much I was willing to give up everything for him. Now, I just wanted to completely sever this relationship. I propose that Ethan's employment and all his permissions at the firm be immediately terminated, pending further legal action, I said, enunciating each word. Agreed. 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 One voice after another echoed. It was a unanimous vote. Ethan slumped in his chair, like an empty shell from which the soul had been drawn. After the meeting, Ryan sent me a message. Tiffany found out and is causing trouble downstairs at the firm's building. I clicked the live stream link. Tiffany stood among the reporters, teary-eyed. Evelyn is inherently jealous. Because was good to me, she framed him. She's using her family's influence to force the board to fire Ethan. This is blatant abuse of power. I sneered. Did this woman really think I would let her cause a scene? Ryan, send the unedited version of the Hot Springs video to a few media outlets we know. Evelyn, doing this. The title will be Married President's Business with Female. Half an hour later, the video exploded online. Tiffany's social media posts were instantly flooded with angry comments. Scumbag and tramp, they deserve it. Workplace quid pro quo, disgusting. Support, well done. The image of Ethan being escorted out of the firm's building by security guards lingered in my mind. That man, once sharply dressed in a suit and full of vigor, now looked like a stray dog, stripped of even his most basic dignity. When he returned to the hospital, I was staring blankly out the window. There were no tears, no sadness, just a strange sense of relief. Evelyn. He rushed into the hospital room and immediately knelt before my bed. I hadn't expected him to do that, but I knew it was just his usual trick. I'm sorry. I was wrong, he cried hysterically. Tiffany tricked me. She was jealous of you and gave me that drug. I didn't know it would be so serious. I quietly watched his performance. 3 years of marriage had given me a complete understanding of his every expression, every movement. The tears in his eyes were real, but the calculation in his gaze was also real. 5. So, you mean you didn't intend to kill me, just to make me infertile? My question was like a knife, directly piercing his performance. His sobbing abruptly stopped, and all color drained from his face. This was the answer I wanted. I took 2 documents from under my pillow, a divorce agreement and a statement voluntarily relinquishing all shares. I threw them in his face, the sound of the paper cutting through the air exceptionally sharp. Sign it, and I can keep the poisoning a secret between us. If you don't, this evidence will immediately appear on the police's desk. He froze, then erupted in a furious rage. You can't do this to me. I own half of the firm too. I laughed, a cold laugh. Your half? It was my father's seed money, contracts I secured by drinking with clients until I suffered a stomach ulcer due to overwork, and project proposals I pulled all-nighters to complete while we were supposedly in love. Ethan, what exactly do you have? He opened his mouth to retort but couldn't find any strong evidence. Because he knew every word I said was true. Just then, his phone rang. He instinctively glanced at it, and I noticed the name displayed on the screen, Tiffany. Aren't you going to answer? I asked. He hesitated, and that hesitation stung me. Even at this moment, he was still weighing the pros and cons between me and her. Go ahead. Add an answer, I want to hear your conversation. He answered the call and put it on speakerphone. Ethan, where are you? The landlord kicked me out. You said you'd handle it. Tiffany's voice was sharp and shrill. I'm at the hospital, with Evelyn. Hospital? You're still with that woman? I've been kicked out. Whose side are you on anyway? Ethan looked at me, still weighing his options in his eyes. In that moment, I knew he was utterly beyond redemption. What are you still hesitating about? I asked. Go to her, she needs you. Evelyn, it's not what you think. Enough, I cut him off. Sign it, and then get out of my sight. His hand was trembling, but he finally picked up the pen and signed both documents. Evelyn, give me one more chance. A chance? I sneered. Did you ever give me a chance? When you put drugs in my juice, when you were intimate with Tiffany in the hot springs, when you embezzled public funds to buy her a car, did you ever think about giving me a chance? He had no words. Now, get out. Ryan stood before Ethan, holding the documents, his eyes cold. Ethan's hand trembled, the pen tip scratching lines on the paper. Are you done signing? Ryan asked. Ethan looked up, his eyes full of reluctance, but finally nodded. Very good, you can leave now, Ryan said, putting away the documents. The firm's main entrance has new access control, and your fingerprints and employee badge have been deactivated. Ethan stood up, his legs weak. He, who once commanded great influence in this building, now wasn't even qualified to stay in a small conference room. Evelyn will regret this, he said through clenched teeth. Ryan smiled. Evelyn is doing very well now. You don't need to worry about her. I completed my hospital discharge procedures, watching the sunlight outside the window. 3 years of marriage, like a nightmare, had finally ended. I vibrated. It was a message from Ryan. Ethan has signed, leaving with nothing. I didn't reply. I just put my phone back in my bag. Let bygones be bygones. Ethan dragged his suitcase to the apartment he had rented for Tiffany. This was a luxury apartment complex he had paid for with public funds, where the monthly rent was enough for an average white-collar worker to live frugally for half a year. He rang the doorbell and waited a long time before hearing footsteps. 6. The door opened, and Tiffany stood there in her pajamas, her hair disheveled. Seeing, she first froze, then frowned. Why are you here? Ethan pushed the door open and walked in, finding the living room piled with suitcases and shopping bags. Where are you going? He asked. Tiffany rolled her eyes. Where else would I go? You've been fired. Do you think I can stay here? The landlord has already called, urging me to move out. Ethan walked over and grabbed her hand. It's okay, we can find a cheaper place to live. Once I find a new job. Tiffany yanked her hand away. Are you crazy? Do you think I'd live in some dump with you? Ethan froze. But didn't you say you loved me? Tiffany burst into harsh laughter. Ethan, you didn't really think I loved you, did you? She walked to the mirror to fix her hair. What I wanted was your money, your status. Now you have nothing, you're less than a dog. Ethan's face turned ashen. You. Stop pretending, Tiffany interrupted him. Weren't you just after my body? We both got what we wanted. Ethan lunged forward and grabbed her shoulders. You bitch. I lost everything because of you. Tiffany struggled free, grabbed the vase from the coffee table, and smashed it towards him. Get lost. Useless. The vase shattered on Ethan's head, blood streaming down his forehead. He roared and pounced on Tiffany. The two wrestled in the small living room, knocking over the coffee table and decorations. You temptress. Ethan roared. You useless loser. Tiffany shrieked. Finally, Ethan was hit on the head by Tiffany with a desk lamp, stumbling back into the corner. Tiffany seized the opportunity, grabbed her suitcase, and rushed out the door. Ethan slumped to the ground, surveying the mess around him, and suddenly realized he had nothing left. He pulled out his phone and started calling the friends he once called brothers. Mark, lend me some money for an emergency. Sorry, I'm pretty tight on cash lately too. Tom, remember last time I treated you? Ethan, I'm sorry, I'm in a meeting. Mr. Arthur, please, I'm begging you. Who is this number? Sorry, I changed my phone. One refusal after another made Ethan understand what fair weather friends meant. Those who once flocked around him and took advantage of him now avoided him like the plague. I sat in my office, looking at the city view outside the window. My secretary knocked and entered. Evelyn, the Fortune magazine reporter has arrived. I nodded. Please let them in. The interview went smoothly. The reporter asked me about the firm's future development, and I spoke eloquently about its overseas strategy and new product lines. Evelyn, you've just gone through a major life upheaval, yet you've managed to adjust so quickly. Do you have a secret? The reporter asked. I smiled. No secret, I just understood one truth. Life doesn't stop moving forward because of one wrong person. A week later, the magazine was published. My photo graced the entire cover, with the title Reborn from the Ashes, Evelyn's New in Business. Ethan saw the magazine at a newsstand on the street. He stood there, staring at my photo for a long time. The person in the photo, radiant and resolute, was a completely different woman from the docile wife he remembered. His gaze gradually turned grim, filled with resentment and bitterness. He reached out to buy the magazine, only to find he didn't even have that much money in his pocket. The owner impatiently waved his hand. If you're done looking, leave, don't block the business. Ethan lowered his head and turned to walk into the crowded street. 7 I heard Ethan was low. Looking for Tiffany. Ryan's message came promptly. Evelyn, Ethan stopped Tiffany at the airport parking lot. I put down the documents, a wave of uneasiness rising in my heart. Ethan was desperate, and desperate people are the most dangerous. Do you need me to send someone to handle it? Ryan asked. No, I shook my head. They're grievances, they can resolve themselves. I turned to the window, rain pelting against the glass. Ethan blamed all his failures on Tiffany, yet never reflected on himself. That was his core problem. My vibrated again. It was surveillance footage from Ryan. I hesitated for a moment, then tapped to open the video. Ethan stopped Tiffany, who was dragging her luggage, at the airport parking lot. The wound on his head had scabbed over, his clothes were wrinkled, and he looked like he had crawled out of a garbage dump. Give me back my things. Ethan grabbed Tiffany's arm. Tiffany struggled. Let go of me. Are you crazy? I'm crazy? Ethan laughed. You're the one who made me this way. What does that have to do with me? Tiffany shook him off. You're incompetent, you couldn't even keep your own wife. Ethan's face was ashen. You lied to me. You said you loved me. Loved you? Tiffany sneered. What I loved was the position of vice at Lynn's group, the luxury items you bought me, the luxury apartment. Now that's all gone, why would I love you? I turned off the video, unwilling to watch anymore. That wretched couple, one greedy, one foolish, truly a match made in hell. But curiosity still made me tap to open the video again. On the screen, Ethan and Tiffany's argument escalated. You liar! Ethan roared. I betrayed Evelyn for you, and now you're just abandoning me like this? Tiffany curled her lip in disdain. You betrayed Evelyn because you yourself are greedy. Don't push the blame on me. Those jewels, I bought them for you. You bought them with public funds, didn't you? Tiffany scoffed. Now that the public funds are gone, you want am back? Ethan suddenly went quiet, his gaze turning terrifying. Where are you going? He asked. None of your damn business. Are you trying to run off with my things? Tiffany spat contemptuously on his face. You're just a dog by Evelyn's side, and now you've been kicked out. Serves you right. That sentence completely enraged Ethan. He violently snatched Tiffany's bag, scattering all the jewelry, cash, and documents across the ground. What are you doing? Tiffany shrieked. Ethan didn't answer. He picked up a diamond necklace, a valuable birthday gift he had given Tiffany. I thought he was going to take it back, but Ethan did something even crazier. He found a rock and, in front of Tiffany, with all his might, smashed the diamonds on the necklace one by one. No. Tiffany lunged to stop him. You're crazy. That's worth hundreds of thousands. Ethan pushed her away and continued smashing. The diamonds shattered under the impact of the stone, just like his shattered life. He wasn't smashing diamonds, he was smashing his pathetic past and trampled pride. Tiffany shrieked and fought him, scratching his face and kicking his body. Ethan didn't dodge or flinch, he just mechanically smashed the necklace. Until airport security arrived and subdued them both. When the police called, I was signing an overseas cooperation agreement. I put down my pen and told my secretary to cancel the afternoon meeting. The police station was filled with the smell of disinfectant. I walked into the interrogation room where Ethan and Tiffany were facing each other across a table. Ethan had new scratch marks on his face, and Tiffany's makeup was smeared, her hair disheveled. You bitch. This is all your fault. Ethan roared, pointing at Tiffany. Get lost. If you weren't so incompetent, would I be like this? Tiffany retorted. The two fell silent when they saw me enter. Ethan's eyes lit up. He broke free from the police officer's grasp and lunged towards me. Evelyn. You're here. I knew you'd come save me. I stepped back, avoiding his outstretched hand. Evelyn, I was wrong, truly wrong. Ethan's voice trembled. Give me one more chance, can we start over? I looked at this man who once shared my bed, now like a drowned dog. Officer, I no longer have any relationship with this gentleman, my voice was calm. As for Ms. Tiffany's property loss, several of those luxury items were purchased with my firm's funds. My lawyer will follow up to reclaim these corporate assets. Ethan's face changed. Evelyn, you can't do this. We were married, after all. Ex-spouses, I corrected him. Tiffany sneered from the side. Evelyn, stop pretending. Aren't you just here to gloat? I didn't even glance at her, turning to walk towards the door. Evelyn, Ethan shouted. Without me, you're nothing. I'm the one who promoted you from a junior staff member. You're ungrateful. I stopped, turned around. Ethan, you're mistaken. My father promoted you from sales to manager, and I promoted you from manager to vice. And you only gave me betrayal. I walked out of the police station, the sunlight glaring. 3 days later, Ethan was sentenced to 15 days detention for intentional assault. Tiffany was placed under investigation for suspected fraud. I had the legal department conduct a thorough investigation of all Ethan's accounts during his tenure. The results showed he embezzled nearly $2 million in public funds, all used to curry favor with Tiffany. Evelyn, should we pursue legal action against Ethan? The legal asked me. Of course, I said, signing the indictment. The firm isn't his ATM. The day Ethan was officially arrested, I received a letter from him. Evelyn, I know I was wrong. Without you, I'm nothing. Please forgive me, give me another chance. I threw the letter into the paper shredder. 6 months later, Lynn's group's market value doubled. I stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window on the top floor of the new headquarters, overlooking the CIT. Why at night? Ryan walked over and handed me a glass of red wine. It's all over now. I took the wine glass and took a sip. No, it's all just beginning. My vibrated. It was a news notification. Former business hotshot Ethan arrested in street brawl, past glory gone. I swiped away the notification. This man was no longer worth another glance from me. Evelyn, are you ready for tomorrow's board meeting? Ryan asked. Of course, I said, raising my wine glass towards the myriad lights outside the window. The new acquisition plan is ready. Ryan hesitated. There are rumors that Ethan will come looking for trouble after he's released from prison. I smiled. Let him come. I'm no longer the Evelyn who can be easily exploited. My lit up again. It was a message from my father. Evelyn, your mother, and I are coming back tomorrow. Want to have dinner? I replied, okay, I'll make a reservation. I put down my phone and looked at the lights outside the window. I once thought marriage was my whole life, but now I understood it was just a small part of it. My new life was just beginning. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.